Welcome back to the All Seasons channel. Today we're working on a furnace. As you can tell, it's kind of weather you kind of want a furnace to work in. So hey, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you've not. Thank you very much. Yeah, we got on site here. The customer says the furnace is working inconsistently. Works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't. Usually when that happens, it's a bad control board. So of course when I get here it works perfectly, and so we're probably just going to go ahead and put a new control board in this, and we'll just have to let them try it and see what it does, and see if that cures the inconsistent operation problem that they're having. So we're going to get started here. It'll be tough to video this, but I'm going to try and show you. I got the furnace out of the camper, and it was a bit of a nightmare. It's one of those that's under the couch, and you have to take the couch out to get to it and all that. So I didn't show you that, not going to show you that. But I will show you repairing the furnace here. All right, this is a Suburban or an AirXL furnace. Don't know for sure. I think this camper's probably about 5 or 6 years old. So, like I say, typically when you would have an inconsistent operation problem, you know, a new board will usually fix that. And we're gonna look around, make sure we don't see anything real obvious too going on. So we just took that one screw out. That will release the furnace from the case. Hopefully it slides right out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So let's see. Well, come out most of the way pretty easy. Let me see here. Stuck on something here. Let me see. Figure out what it is. It's got to be something underneath. Don't see anything. Ah, there we go. That wasn't too bad. I do see one problem. Let me see if I can get you guys and gals in there close enough to see. I don't know whether this is going to show up or not. The igniter wire goes into the firebox through a rubber grommet. I guess it's silicone grommet. The grommet's out of place, so definitely going to try and get that grommet back where it belongs. That will allow some little bit of exhaust gas to enter the living area, so we're going to see if we can fix that. What we came to get was this control board right here. So we're going to switch that control board out. Just a couple screws in this bracket right here will give us complete access to that board. Except the wires are like super short. So yeah, we're just going to switch that board out, and then we're going to go from there. The furnace looks really good inside. It's clean. It looks like it's been used very little. So yeah, we're just going to switch that board out, and then we're going to try this thing a few times here on the back of the truck and see what it does, and if it seems okay, we're going to put it back in the camper. I'm going to switch that board, fix that grommet, and then I'll get back with y'all. All right, we got the board unplugged, and now we're just going to switch this one out with a good dinosaur board, Fan 50 Plus dinosaur board. dinosaur boards are way superior to the OEM boards, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So any chance I can get to put a dinosaur board in a furnace, I do it, because you'll have a lot less trouble with it. And like I say, typically that will fix inconsistency problems with a furnace. On these older furnaces that are not a Dometic furnace, 99 times out of 100, a board will fix an inconsistency issue. Brand new one, still sealed, made in the USA, in Oregon, right? I believe Oregon, yeah. These boards are actually made to be a retrofit. You can change just a regular old furnace that does not have a fan control board. You can change it to a fan control board. But this already has a fan control board, so it's just as simple as plug and play. Just take the old board off, set the new board on, put the nuts back on it. The hold down nuts. Snug them bad boys up. And by snug, I mean snug. Barely even finger tight. Just so the board doesn't rattle. Alright, we'll just get this thing plugged back in. You've got a small spade terminal that goes on the small terminal. Imagine that. You got a larger one that goes on the larger one. Imagine that. You got your igniter wire that goes on that thingy there, whatever that's called. And then your wiring harness plugs in over here. I know you can't see it, but trust me. Oh, I know you can't see it. What are you guys doing? You're not even in frame. Look up here. Okay, there we go. Okay. We just got our wires hooked up. And now we're going to hook up our last terminal right here. Make sure it's don't have any dust in it. But like I say, this furnace looks really good inside. These folks are living in this, but it looks like maybe they just moved into it, because it just does not look like it's heavily used. All right. Get her 2 screws. You guys are, you're looking too high. What's the matter with y'all? Come on. Y'all get it together here. Okay, we're gonna get her 2 screws back in here. It just holds the board in the furnace. Just like so. Alrighty. Now we're going to make sure all of our wires are okay. Everything's out of the way. Nothing's going to get down in the squirrel cage fan, which I'm rotating, and it sounds good. Now we're going to slide this thing back in the case, and then we're going to test fire it. Usually the easiest way to get these things in and out of the case is do it vertically like this. I have found that's the easiest way to do it. You just got to make sure your wires that go from the furnace to the camper don't get caught on anything damaged. Had a wire there that was somewhere it shouldn't have been. I don't know, you're on the back side, you can't see, but I'm just making sure these wires go where they belong. It's a little tight spot right there, boy. Get past that, goes pretty easy. We're going to look on the bottom of the furnace here, inside and out, make sure all of our wires are where they belong. All right, we're just going to turn this furnace up, look it over real good, make sure all of our wires are good. And yes, they are. They've got a big old hole in the side of this case that they go out of. Because this case actually basically just goes flush up against the back wall. You know what? There's actually a bunch of animal fur down there around that cell switch. So I'm going to pull this cover off and look at that cell switch too. And these furnaces, man, these dudes are sharp. Everything you touch in these things is just sharp as a razor. So if you got any sense, wear gloves. I just can't wear gloves. I just not a glove guy. So I want to go ahead and pull this cover off this squirrel cage fan and just make sure that there's make sure the cell switch looks good, make sure it's clean and all that. Just 4 screws. Well, there's a few more on this one because it's got a brace on it, but 4 main screws that hold this cover on the squirrel cage fan. That's where the cell switch is mounted. This one has a little triangular brace over here that you got to take all 3 screws out of to get that cover off. They added this brace in the later serial numbers of this model because I think they just had a flex problem between the motor and the squirrel cage fan housing. So they put this little triangular brace in here. I'll show you here in just a second. That's all it is, just a triangular brace. Just to kind of stiffen things up here a little bit. Well, there was a lot of fur behind that cell switch, but the cell switch itself looks good, feels good, so we're going to assume it is good. We're just going to put our screws back in, and we'll slide this thing back in the case and test fire it. Tightening these screws up, don't forget it's all plastic here. The threads are plastic, both sides are plastic. So, snug accordingly. Okay, got that all tightened up. Rotate our squirrel cage fan, make sure everything's cool there. They don't put any excess wire on these things. And everything's pretty dang tight. So Gotta make sure all your wires are run the correct way so they don't get tangled up in something or get pulled loose. Both those are bad. Give her one more rotation of the fan and we're gonna slide this thing back in the case. Get our wires where they belong. Make sure they stay where they belong. Look everything over real good. Make sure we don't have any wires stuck anywhere they don't belong. Everything looks good. Get our hold down screw back. Holds the furnace inside the case. Oh, where y'all at? All right, now we're gonna test fire this baby. Hook up our gas line. Hook up our jumper wires so we have some power. Now we just twist the two blue wires together. Those are the thermostat wires. Fan comes on. And then, oops, you gotta keep your wires together. Fan comes on. Don't let those touch. Well, I'm gonna have to get something. Have to get a wire nut, put them together with. All right, got a wire nut. Put those wires back together. I was saying, don't let these thermostat wires touch anything because they are positive. And you'll pop my fuse because I've got a fuse in this line. The fan will run for 15 seconds or so, 20 seconds, and then it'll fire the furnace. Fired right up. Can you hear it? So there's replacing your OEM board in your Suburban furnace, or Air XL. I think they changed the name a few years ago. That's just changing out the OEM board for a dinosaur board. And we just checked the cell switch, fired right up. So I'll test fire this several times on the truck. I'll tell you right now, it smells like it hasn't burnt in forever. It's stinking, you know, like a furnace that hasn't burnt in a long time. So, because one of the customer complaints was it had a smell. So I think the smell was it just hadn't been used yet. So I don't know. But anyhow, we're going to continue to test this and we're going to go on and go fix another one. And y'all have a fantastic day.